Sometimes when you're working with complex forms, you might have multiple groups in your form. So back in our previous example, look at this value property. I've made a tiny change in our form, and now instead of the first name property, we have contact, which is a complex object. So this contact currently has only one property, which is first name. Potentially here we could have last name, email, whatever. Also, we could have address property, which could be another complex object. We could have shipping, billing, you got the point. So how do we represent a structure like this? Well, just like we have the ngModel directive, we also have ngModelGroup directive. So back in our template, I'm going to add a div here and apply ngModelGroup directive to it and set the value to contact. Okay, so this represents the sub-property in our value object. Now, here's our first form group that includes our first name field. I'm going to collapse this markup and cut it and move it inside our model group. Okay, save. That's all we have to do. So here's our model group called contact. Inside this group, we have our first name field. And with this change, now our value object is a complex object that is hierarchical. So we have the contact group, and here we have the first name. So in your applications, the API you have on the server may expect a complex nested object structure like this. If that's the case, you use the ngModelGroup directive. Also, similar to the ngModel, you can get a reference to this directive using a template variable. So here we can define a template variable called contact and set it to ngModelGroup directive. Now we can reference this contact variable anywhere in this template, and this is useful if you want to validate an entire group as a whole. Let's say you have a group called billing details, and you want to display all the validation errors for the billing details on top of that group. If that's the case, then you would have a div. Here, you would have ngIf, and we can use this template variable contact to see if this entire group is valid or not. And of course, inside this div, we're going to have all the validation errors for that group.